Good day, everyone. Welcome back to this channel. Today we have a new person, a new guest today that is going to be telling us about how to get admission to the United States, most especially for the arts and for English students for graduate program in English. So basically, for me not to miss something out, I will just leave it to our guest today to do a brief introduction about herself before we move on to the next phase of today's discussion.
Okay, hi everyone. Thanks for having me on your platform, Benson. And I'm glad to be here to shed light into some of the decisions we have to make while seeking admission. And I will be speaking from my own experience with getting admission into a university in the United States. So I'm Arawomo Olayinka. Um, I'm in the Department of English, University of Wisconsin Madison, and this is my third year in the program. So I'm in the Department of English, but I'm in the program called Composition and Rhetoric. So sometimes we would all say, oh, we are English students or we're in the Department of English, but there are different programs within the department. Speaking from my own experience in the Department of English, University of Wisconsin Madison.
Okay.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for that brief, quick introduction. So for us to go into the main discussion of today and not to miss time to so much, I want to ask about your experience from Nigeria to the US. How, when you graduated, how were you able to go about getting, because now you're in your third year, so I know you've had quite a couple of experience in the United States and you know what it entails for someone that is coming now. And back then, coming to the United States, also I know what it's like. So how was your experience and how did you go about your admission process when you were seeking admission?
So again, I would like to speak for myself and from my own experience. So it may not be generalizable, if you get what I mean. So I like to say that ahead. So for me, I came in first into the US as a Fulbright teaching assistant.
Okay.
And that's a 9-month program for people from linguistics and African languages. I don't know what it is called in other schools, but I finished from Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife.
Okay.
So I know students from linguistics that are part of my cohort for the Fulbright program now, FLTA. So that could be a discussion for another day for those in English, those in linguistics and African languages, and whether it's English literature or English language. I know that we have scholars from those areas that were my cohort or people that I know that were part of the program. So yes, we were sent here by the government to, and not the Nigerian government now, sponsored by the US government to come here and teach their people Yoruba for 9 months. So that was how I came in.
Okay.
And so that 9-month experience helped me to have some idea about what it is to get admission and how the system works. And I had colleagues that were here before me that I related with, and they guided me through the process. So coming in as a Fulbright scholar does not, it's not in any way saying that is what guarantees admission. So we've had people that came in all the way from Nigeria and they were not in any form of the program. So the reason why I gave this background story is this. you will understand when I start talking about the cost of application.
Okay.
It's a different scenario when you are in Nigeria spending Naira and you are turning in applications. So you may be restricted by that and you are limited to one application or two. So we will go through all of those processes. And that's why I'm giving you my background of coming in as an FLTE that gave me the privilege to have some dollars to spare to do admission and all of that.
Okay.
So if I had to spend my Naira, I wouldn't have applied to the numbers of schools
Mm.
I applied to. So that's why I'm explaining. But we have people that had come in without any program, you know. Yeah.
Okay. 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 I get it. So now, when you came in as Fulbright Scholar, because I know there are other Fulbright program also that sponsor students for masters and PhD, but that will be for another day, as you said. But now you came for 9 months to teach Yoruba. Then, when did you decide to pursue a PhD program? Did you have to go back to Nigeria then? Then how did you apply to these schools? Then what are the things that you prepare for your application processes that makes you to be able to get into University of Madison?
So why did I apply for a PhD program? Um, Earlier on, I've settled it that I want to become a professor. We mean lecturer. That's what we call professor lecturers here. So even back from Nigeria, my interest have always been in um, has always been impacting my fellow students, be it my colleague or junior students. So I had lots of that connection with students. And I also assisted Dr. Kehinde Ayola, a senior lecturer in the Department of English, OAU Ife. And so it gave me that mentorship I needed, that training I needed. So it wasn't in the US I decided that, oh, I wanted to pursue a PhD. So I knew that I needed it for the next phase of my life. And that is why I did a master's in the first place in Nigeria, still in English. And so it's as if I know where I'm going. And that's why I decided the next phase is the PhD. So I haven't settled in and, you know, I'm more concerned with my primary duty as a teaching assistant. When I came in, that was the primary duty. So, however, I started early because you have to put a lot of things into consideration. There is a window period for application. So you cannot just turn in application whenever you want to. And you know that in a country where there is system and there are structures, you have to do things when you have to do it. And because there are many students applying all over the world, you have to make sure you start early so that you can give attention to all the application materials you are putting together so that you can give your referees, your lecturers enough time to write a solid reference letter for you. So you need time to do things, do your GRE, you know, get all your materials together so you don't want to start late. So I think I started application around from December 2017. No, I think from even the window period for application is usually July to December, January. So some schools have their deadline as December, some have it as January. So what you want to do is just make sure you find out the deadline for the school or schools you want to apply to and start early. So I was here doing my primary duty, but at the same time, I was working towards applying to schools. So if I've not addressed any question, I would do that in the follow-up question.
Good. So now we've gotten to that stage. So now I know for science and technology, the application processes might look somewhat similar, but kind of different for the arts and social sciences. So like aside from writing GRE, and I know for the arts now you expect you to raise the verbal aspect of the GRE very well more than the quantitative, unlike the STEM, that the quantitative is more important. So now, what are the application material that generally is required of an English student? Now, let me say English student. Let me bring everything together under the same umbrella. Like English student as a whole. What are the acquired material? What are the things that need to be put together aside from personal statements? Are there other things that need to be put together? And how do one go about the issue of supervisor and funding those?
So let me start with the GRE.
Okay.
I'd like to say that see your application as a holistic process. So sometimes people fret about, oh, my GRE, and I know it's an exam we dread. While I was sitting before before the computer, at some point I didn't want to turn my responses in, because even as an English graduate, I didn't even know what I was doing in the English section. So um, don't fret about it. Study as much time as you have to and face the exam. So, like you rightly said, the attention will be different based on your area. So, for those in the humanities or arts, as we know it, more attention may be given to the verbal aspects. And so, don't fret about it, just do your best. I want to believe that schools are not just interested in your GRE, it's a standardized testing, and there are so many theories and questions that comes with the validity, or just judging you based on your performance at the GRE. So having said that, since you may not have an advantage in that area, you want to be sure that you have advantage over the things you can control to some extent, if you get what I mean. So the first thing I did was to list the schools I wanted to get into. And the way you can know about the schools is check online, ask friends that are in the US or in a program. Just do your basic research of what schools can I apply to. So there may be other factors if someone else picks for where they want to go to. But I was in University of Wisconsin Madison for my program, and looking at moving around, relocating, and all of that, I was already comfortable in where I was, and there was already a community. So, but if I had to move, I wouldn't be bothered at all. The goal is just to pursue your education. So I got the list of schools I wanted to attend. I think University of Nebraska. I may not be calling it correctly. I'm a Nigerian. Uh, so I know there's Rutgers. I don't know if it is called correctly. Um, University of Wisconsin Madison, of course. Um, Bowling Green University. Um, Michigan Tech University. And like I said, we had few dollars to spend on the application. And some of the application fee were $50, $70, $80. So if you calculate that times 400, you know what that means. So that was why I gave the initial background. So um, for University of Wisconsin-Madison, with $81, you can apply to 3 different departments.
Wow.
Yes, so that was an advantage. So I applied to African Cultural Studies, where I did my primary assignments. So you are wondering, what am I doing in African Cultural Studies? So yeah, so one of the reasons I felt I could be a good fit there was because I was also into gender studies. So I knew I could function there. So African American Studies, then English departments. And for this, the previous two, it was an MA. Why that of, because I didn't have a previous background in this, so it's easier to start with an MA from the department. Then for English department, since I already had my master's, I just applied for the PhD, hopefully, because it was something I didn't believe as such that I would get into, because it's kind of top notch, and I saw that it was highly competitive, and not having my master's in and from the US. So, so what I did was, I got something like this. I tried to find the stuff, but I can't find the original one.
Okay.
So I wrote the name of the school. For instance, Rutgers. So all I did was to go to the website, the Department of English or whatever it's called, and I wrote down the requirements. So I did that for each school on a new page. And the essence of that was to make sure that I followed through everything they expected. And as soon as I um, did what I think they expected, I checked my box. So that way I was able to detect my professor or lecturer that hasn't sent in his or her reference letter or recommendation letter. I was able to detect if my GRE result was already in that school, since I had to pay additional cost for forwarding to the school. So some schools may not require the GRE. So, but for the English department here, it was a requirement. So, yes, let me see what else I have to mention. So first, that's about getting the school you want to attend to, going to the website, to the program website, the graduate student section, and looking out for what they want. Another thing you want to go to is go to the faculty section. We call, like faculty are the lecturers, those who lecture. So go and check about the faculty member. What are the interests of this faculty member? Is this something you are also interested in? The reason you are doing this is that even if they don't require you to have communicated with any faculty member as a supervisor, you know that you've done your homework such that there is someone that would be willing to work with you when they are reviewing your application. So you want to make sure that you are a good fit for the department and that the department is a good fit for, for you. So that's one thing, or that's one reason for checking out the faculty member. It again gives you a broad idea of research interests you can delve into. So some may require you to have had a previous email contact with a faculty member. Some don't. For instance, the English department did not. Even University of Wisconsin Madison did not. And I don't even think I did that for any school that I applied to. All I did was to go to the program, look at the programs, the sub-disciplines in that program, look at the research interest, and find a way to, you know, synergize what they can offer and what I can offer. So that's, so I've addressed GRE, I've addressed finding schools, I've addressed reading about the program, what they have to offer you, also then also the faculty members you can work with. So the next one will lead to funding. So I know that's the
big
very big. Yes. So because if you give me admission and I cannot afford to come, it's as well as, and you didn't give me funding, it's as well as I didn't get the admission. So I know that one of the schools said, congratulations, we look forward to seeing you, but we are sorry, we cannot fund you. And I think that was for a master's program. So I'm not so sure, but I know that you can get funding more with the PhD or the MA PhD track. So I know friends that came in for MA and they were fully funded. So I know some of my friends, yes, that were fully funded. So it's not an excuse not to try. So yes, funding is a very big thing. When you look at the statements and you are seeing 40,000 per year, if you multiply it times 400.
Not including the feeding and the housing expenses.
Yeah, but and I cannot ask my mommy to go and sell house. That is even if there's a house to sell houses to sell. Like my friend would say, when you remove all the tires of my father's car, you sell everything differently. There's no way it will cater for the cost. Please and please try your best to get admitted, but it takes faith, yes, to say that you would come without funding. I don't know your purse or your parents' purse, but just be sure that you have something secure because that would speak for you even to get your visa at the embassy, Lagos, Nigeria, or maybe Abuja. So one thing that gives them confidence to say, okay, come into our country is that we know that you can take care of your um, studying and take care of yourself, and you will not be a burden or a nuisance. I'm sorry to use that word. So funding is very important. Check if the school has funding. It can come in form of fellowship. It can come in form of TAship, that's teaching assistantship. It can come in form of project assistantship or research assistantship. You may get it directly from your department, or you may get it from another department. For instance, if I don't have funding in the English department, because I can teach Yoruba, I can reach out to the African Cultural Studies. Do you have a slot for me to teach? But you know that they also have graduate students who they would have
Yes.
recruited as their TAship. So funding is really, really a big part of your decision to say, yes, I want to come, because it's stressful to want to go about graduate um, work. And at the same time, you are really, really concerned about funding. And I don't know what student loan looks like for international students. So try as much as possible to get funded. With mine, it's automatic. As soon as they give you the admission, they send along the funding package for you, and they give you the time to respond in case you have offers from other schools. So and that's why it's advisable to apply early. You may be a strong candidate. I don't know how it works with, oh, maybe I applied early. Um, Benson too is vying for this, but I applied before you. So if we have the tie, it may be a way to decide whose application came in first. So I can't say, I'm not part of the committee, but I'm just imagining that that's why it's important to apply early. Don't wait till the end of the stuff and say, oh, the deadline is December 15. I'm turning in my application December 1. It may not be in your best interest. Yes, so that's all I can say.
That's a lot. That's a lot to swallow. That's a lot for our audience to get and prepare for the next phase, most especially people in the art and humanities. The next thing I want to ask that comes to my mind is, are there any other material or any other things that needs to be prepared for maybe an MA or a PhD program in English aside GRE, statement of purpose, recommendation letter, as as the other counterpart, the STEM people? Those are what I know we prepare when we want to do. Are there any other material for the English people?
Okay, so One additional thing I know the required for me is a writing sample.
Okay.
So with the writing sample, I think I provided the example of the statement of purpose that um, got me into the first phase of being invited for an interview with the FLTA.
Okay.
So you want to be sure to put out something that speaks for you. The whole thing is look at it as if you are making an argument. Like you can't see the person face to face, but you are making an argument with all of the materials you are putting together. So you want to be sure it's not it's not in any way asking you to exaggerate things, being honest, being real, drawing on your previous experiences and your aspirations. You want to be sincere with everything you put together. So the writing sample, I used that of the statement of purpose. Then I don't know if it's for specific question on publication, request on publication, but I don't think it's a requirement.
Okay.
But I don't know if it's the preliminary page of my MA thesis. I used also the one that talks about the abstract and introduction. I'm not sure which, but I know I also provided the title of the chapter of a book that was forthcoming as part of the publication. So, like I said, it's an argument you are making. Whatever they require, try and give it to them. But make sure you are putting it together carefully, systematically. You are doing it in an organized way. You're watching out for little things that can give you away and say, oh, careless mistakes, whether grammatical, whether global issues with your writing, since it's the English department, you want to be sure that basic things that reflect that you've gone through what it means to study the English language and structure and function, you put it into play. So the additional thing I think I did was the writing sample and just talking about your SOP to try as much as possible to make a strong argument that you are a good fit for the department and you have something to offer. Don't act beggarly. You get what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you mean. So
Yeah.
lastly, what I want to ask is this question came because of English and because I have a very close friend in English. She also went to AU and she's been trying to get in also. So, but something came to my mind that I want to ask. Now, when you are writing, do you consider British English or American English?
Okay. You have to use American English because that is the audience you're writing to.
Okay.
I'm sure that some of the professors understand that there are Englishes and they will not in any way find your own version of English derogatory. That's part of what research asks us to do. So, but try as much as possible, at least for the spellings, you are writing in the American convention.
Okay.
So, but in writing, that's part of what I do now. I teach writing. You want to look at global issues like the ideas, the coherence, the cohesion. You get what I mean? It's not the local issue now comes to your punctuation. So you want to look even grammar. In this place, we are encouraged to look beyond the grammar, to look first at the ideas. So that's another big discussion on writing, because if you would agree with me, we were not taught to write.
Yeah, no.
Yes, my audience may agree with me, and I don't mean any offense to my wonderful lecturers and professors. We were not taught to write. We maybe they assumed that would pick it up along the way. It is, you should know how to write. And so you can get deductions because you did not write well in your exam, in your essays back in Nigeria. So while you are preparing, while you are waiting, please and please, let's do ourselves the good of reading about writing and reading itself. So reading and writing are two vital things you cannot escape in an American university. You will read, you will read, you will read. You can see the back of your, the background. I think that's a testament. You will read. And when I mean read, for every week, you have a number of readings to do. And so the skill of reading is another thing you have to get used to. So get in first. We look forward to welcoming you.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the time. So in 1 minute, what would be the advice that you give to an undergraduate person that's just graduating? I know our academic system is being put on hold now in Nigeria because of the pandemic. There's no online. But someone still an undergraduate and someone that just graduated, I know some people finished their NYC today in Nigeria.
Congratulations.
And they will be trying to look at some opportunities that they might want to consider. Some will want to do many things. So what will be the advice for majorly now people in the English and the art and humanities that are looking for maybe to pursue their graduate program? What will be the advice that you have for them?
Well, be sure that you really, really want to be in this. Because when you get to that phase of being frustrated or weary or tired, and there are measures, especially when you start the research phase, you know, that passion will keep you going. That view you have ahead of you that I'm doing this for this course will keep you going. So be sure you have the passion. Then also equip yourself. The world is a field that acknowledges your expertise. So I know that there could be challenges that come with class, color, nationality, or whatever. But excellence, I believe, has no gender, has no color, has no class. So it's what we make of the whole situation. So one thing I decided I would never do is to either complain or give excuses. Because coming in the first year, I felt, I really felt I should have been cute, but it was no excuse. So it means you may do the extra work of catching up wherever you're lagging behind. And that has to do with theories. So when you're in a class and it's really, really theory driven, you have to go and check methods and methodologies. Again, there are things that we don't really delve into. So while you're waiting, please equip yourself. Look for world best practices. I'm not saying whatever they do in the US is the standard. So just look for practices that makes you competitive, that makes you relevant wherever you go.
Thank you so much. To our audience, you've heard it all, and want to appreciate our guest today for our time. I know I cannot pay you some dollars because we are in the same situation. But we want to appreciate you for your time and for the wealth of knowledge that you've shared with us. Really appreciate you. We want to say thank you, and I'm saying thank you on behalf of our audience and many people that might be watching the video. So that will be it for today. Please kindly watch this video meticulously and take to all the information that has been shared, and please do share this video with as many people as possible that might need it, and do not forget to subscribe to this channel. If you have any question, please post your question. If I cannot answer them, I have group of people and group of like minds that can answer those questions, that I can pose those questions to, and I'm sure they will surely answer. So thank you so much, and that will be all for today.
Thank you.